Hey guys, Ryan with the Driven Channel. I figured I would give you a quick update. It has been several years since the last time that I've posted anything. And so I figured I'd just pop in real quick and maybe bring the channel back to life. Whether it's, for people that watch it or just my mom. Love you, Mom. Anyway, so quick car update. I think the last time I left off, the only Volkswagen that I had in my life was my Mark IV GTI. God, I miss that car. Gotta be honest with you, that thing was a total shit box, but damn, it was fun to drive. Anyway, the current owner still has it. He just brought it back from life because I sold it back to him, and he got into a pretty nasty accident. I think it's still running and driving. I saw it actually last year at the Ozark European Rally. So that was fun. Anyway, what I have right now has changed quite a bit. I had a Mark VI Volkswagen Jetta GLI. There goes my garage door light turning off. And some asshole in a Subaru decided to sideswipe that and total it for me, so that was great. Anyway, so with the cash that I made from buying a car pre-COVID and having it after COVID, when the car market went absolutely crazy, I was able to buy with cash this Volkswagen CC right behind me. Now the bulk of this video isn't going to be necessarily about that car, but I figured I would mention that car since it was already parked there and I'm about to pull the other one back in. So the Volkswagen CC is 2012. It's had some maintenance done, a whole bunch of maintenance done by me, a whole bunch of deferred maintenance done by me because the previous owner was not taking very good care of it. Regardless, it is a KO4 car, so it does have the Golf R Turbo. It's full APR, so it's got the intercooler, the intake, the exhaust, the tune, the whole thing. It's actually pretty fun, kind of quick, especially for being a big car. I've never really been a CC guy or a Passat guy, other than really enjoying my son's Passats. And the fact that I've owned a whole bunch of Passats, almost accidentally, is kind of funny too. These wheels, they're gonna go, they're ugly as hell. The previous owner spray painted them white while they were still on the car. Good job, guy. Anyway, so that's what that is. It is just kind of leaking on the floor right now. I'm not exactly sure where the oil leak's coming from, but I'll figure that out. And it has a perpetual check engine light, which is fantastic because I am a Volkswagen guy and I'm super used to that. Anyway, I figured I would make this video. I also have been really thinking up here in the noggin about doing kind of a big thing. A thing that I can't really talk about in too much detail. But it does not involve this car. It involves primarily my daily driver, which I'm about to pull into the garage and introduce that to you as well. Also a Volkswagen. I still have the 98 Toyota 4Runner. I don't know that I'll ever not have that. So as far as the garage update goes, that has stayed. Mark IV GTI is gone. All of the other cars are gone. I have this CC, and then I have the other car that I'll introduce here in just a second. I'll also let you take a quick peek of the 4Runner just so you can see, just so you know, it's still there. It looks just a little different because my son did borrow it and hit a deer with it, and so the front end has a couple of changes just because it had to. Anyway, so we'll get to that in this weird transition here in just a second, because I don't have that fancy software that I used to have that did all the flippities. So jump cut. All right, quick video proof I do still have the 4Runner. You can see the hood's a little faded because it's spray bombed because it had to been replaced after hitting a deer. Otherwise, pretty much the same old thing. So, favorite car. I do have a roof rack on it now, which is neat. And yes, that air horn is because the 4Runner horns from the factory are trash, and I need that in case people cut me off. Okay. All right, so this is my 2011 Volkswagen Jetta TDI. It is honestly really surprisingly fun to drive. And I bought it just because I was like, hey, I'm gonna have, you know, my fast-ish Volkswagen, which I realize the KO4 car's not that fast, but hey, it's fun and it's one of the faster cars I've had in a while. Because I'm a Volkswagen guy, I don't drive fast cars. Don't take that too personally. If you have like a Daza or like a crazy Golf R build or something, you might have a fast car. I don't, and I never really have. Anyway, getting off track. The Jetta, it's a 6-speed manual. I literally went into the dealership expecting to buy a DSG car because I had my eye on a DSG car. And it wasn't available because parts on back order, because that's the world we live in now. But this 6-speed manual car was, and I was like, well, I'll drive it. And I drove it, and I was like, God damn, I love it. So yeah, I love driving this thing. I drive the wheels off of this thing. I've been driving it to Kansas City and back, and realized that even if I'm going at speeds that are greater than what they should be if I'm driving, I found that even at speeds, you know, in Mexico on a racetrack, if I'm going an average of 100+ miles per hour, it's still getting 30+ miles to the gallon, which is pretty freaking awesome. Anyway, without alluding too much to what my plans are with this car and what I plan on preparing for, who knows, in the next few months or in the next year or so. The first thing I need to do is I need to get some maintenance done on this. I don't have the maintenance records, so I don't know when the transmission fluid was done. I don't think I know when the fuel filter was done. I'm pretty sure it's overdue. And then the dealership used some 0W30 oil, which is not what I want to have in it. So I've got some BG 5W30 oil that I'm going to be putting in there, along with a couple other BG products. Thank you, Jordan Christensen. You are my BG supplier slash dealer slash homie. Also, check out his YouTube. You probably already have, because he has way more subs than I do. But Auto Racing, I think, is his YouTube channel. Anyway, so we're going to do some maintenance on this, and that's mainly what this video is going to be about. All right, well, I'm under here removing the 552,493 Torx bits that Volkswagen deemed it necessary to hold on this plastic oil pan that has to come off, by the way, to actually get access to the oil drain pan, which, unlike my other Jetta, a gasoline engine, is not accessible, by the way. So what I'm saying is, in a gasoline Jetta, you can just go under this thing and unscrew the drain plug and the oil comes out. But in this thing, you got to take off this whole stupid plastic oil sheet, which really doesn't do anything except for maybe a little bit of aerodynamics, which I guess is what they were after, which brings me into my point. The reason why I bought this car. I've never been a diesel guy. As a matter of fact, if anything, I've been kind of anti-diesel. Mainly because maintenance costs. But I'm doing my own maintenance now, so maintenance costs are going to be reduced. So I guess that's a thing. If I need to get this one or not, doesn't look like I do. Okay. Anyway, I got this because I've always kind of wanted to have something that got really good fuel mileage. And these things actually do really well. Real world, if I'm driving around town specifically, I'm getting 32 to 34 miles to the gallon. And if I'm driving like a reasonable human being on the highway, I'll get somewhere in the low to mid 40s, which is really good. Now diesel is more costly these days, so you know I'm bouncing off of that. But you also have to keep in mind that my other car only takes 93 octane, and pretty much every vehicle I've owned previously has been a premium, premium fuel only. So that stuff's, you're looking at a difference of 20 to 30 cents a gallon, and way more than 25% increase in fuel economy. So that's pretty much why And I considered actually getting a cheap electric vehicle, but then I thought that the range that I was going to be getting for a cheap electric vehicle just wasn't going to quite cut it for my needs, since I'm back and forth to Kansas City for my daughter's volleyball tournaments all the time. That is something that I had to consider. So I got something with a whole lot more range, and this thing can get realistically 500 miles to the tank if I'm not too hard on it. Oh, look, somebody didn't put that bolt in. That's fantastic. That never happens, right? So I bought this, and I never did get the TDI thing. I've driven a couple of my buddies, and it was fun enough. But driving a stick shift TDI is actually a blast. And so having a daily driver that's a blast to drive is actually is pretty cool, and I appreciate it. So that's why I got this, and that's why I'm going to keep it. And this thing is very quickly becoming one of my favorite vehicles. I actually really enjoy this, and I have a feeling that that's going to be reduced after I work on it some. Because I don't know why Volkswagen deemed it necessary to make just the diesel version so much more of a pain in the ass to fucking do anything on, but they did. So I'm gonna get to these bolts back here. Anyway, so that's why I bought this, and basically I'm doing the TDI thing. So kind of goes along with what I kind of want this channel to be about, though, and that's the fun things that that a very middle-class person can do with cars. You know, you don't necessarily have to be super wealthy. You can just be solidly middle-class and have a lot of fun with cars. So that's what I'm doing. And here in a second, I'm going to be up top, hopefully done with all this junk underneath, and we'll get back to it. All right, well, that was a stupid design, but I got the oil draining from the bottom. Now, to get to the oil filter, it's also stupid. It's not easy like it is on every other car. On a TDI, you got to remove this, which this isn't a big deal. But this oil filter housing thing here looks like it's super easy to get out, but there's this big thing running to the intake, which is some kind of emissions junk, that you have to like put a rag over to keep from getting oil on, because otherwise it gets spilled on, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I won't show you all of that because there's plenty of DIY videos on this, but that's what's going on up top. All right, oil is changed. Checking the dipstick now. What the hell, dipstick? Oh, it's got like a little thing that holds the dipstick on for crankcase pressures, which my other car has. My other car's was broken, and it kept popping the dipstick out, causing a really bad idle. Anyway, let's check and make sure the oil level is fine. Right on the nose. Now, I did use BG oil. I used DOC diesel oil conditioner from BG as well. And I used a Napa Gold filter because I am a Napa store manager. So, of course I did. The BG products you can actually find at my Napa store in Columbia, Missouri, because we are a independent dealer, means we can buy whatever the heck we want. And we sell a lot of BG products. Anyway, that's topped off. I'm going to get back underneath the car now and drain the transmission fluid, which I will be replacing with BG Synchro Sift. This is not a BG commercial, I swear, but they just have good products, and I've used them for years and had really good luck with them. So, back underneath. All right, here I am back under the car. Deja vu. Well, this is actually pretty simple from what I saw in the internet videos that I watched that showed how to do this. There's literally just a fill plug and a drain plug. And the only thing that I'm hoping is that Thor himself and or the Hulk, yeah, I'm an MCU fan, didn't put these nuts on, which is what I've been finding with a lot of other stuff. Oh, that one really wasn't so bad. So, yeah, good. Thor didn't put that one on, nor did the Hulk. Oh, Look at that. Easy peasy. Now, let's get that out of there. And you know what? I'm going to put some gloves on my precious hands before finishing this up, because I don't want to get them all dirty, because, ew, gross. All right, so for those that don't know, when you're getting ready to pump fluid into a transmission or a gearbox or something along those lines, and you don't want to attach a tube to the end of one of the stupid freaking nipple ends on the gear oil dispenser and try and squeeze it in and make a big giant mess, buy one of these. I think they retail for like $7 or $8 at Napa. And man, this is going to save you a whole heck of a headache. Just put the little, screw the little top on there and just pump the fluid right in. It's awesome. And now we just do like the song says, and we pump it. Pump it up. And I think the spec on this is like, I don't remember, it's less than 3/4. So again, I won't bore you with all the pumping. It's not that kind of video. And we're done under here. Oh wait, I still got to put on that splash guard. Oh. All right, and the last thing, fuel filter. Again, I'm going to use a Napa Gold because they're made by Wix. They're good filters, and I got to support my employer. So there's just a few bolts up top here. Of course, they're all Torx bits because it wouldn't be a Volkswagen unless it was, you know, some kind of funky hardware. So we're just going to take those off. We're going to pop the filter out. We're going to drain the fluid down. Then we're going to put the filter in. Then we're going to use a VCDS to pump the fluid back up after putting the top on. And definitely going to do it that way. So again, not going to bore you with the rest. Just wanted to let you know what we're doing. All right, now it's time for my favorite part, which is, of course, a test drive. It's not, you know, absolutely necessary, but I always enjoy driving my cars after doing a little service on them just to make sure everything's running right. Make sure everything's shifting good. And the synchro shift seems to be doing good. And after the fuel filter, everything seems to be running good. And I don't have any oil lights or anything like that, so I think everything's good. I am going to go wash this thing. I have a history, actually on this channel including, of wearing inappropriate footwear when driving cars, and for some reason I hopped in the car today wearing my slides, and wearing slides with size 13s and a stick shift is not the best idea. Not the best idea at all. So I'm going to do my best with that. Anyway, so I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and tell everybody what the big plan is instead of keeping it a big secret. It isn't necessarily something that's totally legal. Or, you know, who knows? I may decide to do it in a legal fashion. Probably not. But I'm going to do a low buck cannonball. And what that means is, by low buck, I don't mean that I'm going to use like a low dollar car like they did in like the 2803 or 20, whatever it was called. I watched way too much Wiki. Anyway, so what my plan is, me and my son, we've been talking about it for years and years and years. He's almost 22 years old now, so he will be plenty old enough to, you know, get a good ticket with me if we do get caught going hyper legal speed somewhere. We're going to do a cross-country run, and we're going to do it without any real modifications to the car. I do plan on upgrading the brakes. I'm going to use the brakes off of the CC that I have when I upgrade the brakes to the CC. So the thing with the CC is you can put the VR6 4Motion brakes on. They bolt right on. I've got all the stuff sitting at work, just waiting on a good time that I can have both vehicles up in the air so that I can put the big brakes on the CC and then take the CC brakes off and put it onto this. Anyway, I'll probably hit up like James McNamara or something like that at the tuning spot to have that done. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to put essentially Mark 6 GTI brakes, so the same thing as the CC brakes. I'm going to stick those on here. I'll have some lowering springs, and then I'll have my favorite set of wheels, which I've had for years now, and I've had on, how many vehicles have I had that on? 3. I've had those 17x8 Advanti Storms. on 3 vehicles now, and I'm going to put them on a 4th. This will be the 4th, because I'm not a huge fan of these wheels that are on it now, and I feel like having a super hyper lightweight sub 17 pound wheel can't harm fuel efficiency, and having a little bit wider tire may affect it in a little bit small way, but I really doubt that I'll even notice a difference, except for in performance. Whenever I take a corner or anything like that, I'll certainly feel better sitting a little lower with a little wider wheels and a little wider tires. Anyway, so that's really all I'm going to do to the car. I'm not going to spend very much money on the car at all. I've already upgraded the headlights to some Chinese projectors with LEDs, and I've had really good luck with these Chinese headlights. I'm telling you, I don't know what the length is, how long they'll last, but boy, they are working fantastic, and they look really good too. So that's it. I'm not going to put a fuel cell in the car. I'm not going to use a bunch of radar laser jammers or anything like that. I'm going to get, I've already got a decent radar detector, but I may get a better radar detector. And then maybe a couple of pairs of binoculars, maybe one with night vision for night lookout. I don't know how expensive that is, but if it's too expensive, then I won't even do that. But that's it. We're just gonna head out, and we're gonna do the thing, and we're gonna do it on a super shoestring budget, and just see what kind of time we can get. Do I expect to beat anyone's time? No, because I'm not going to spend $10,000 preparing for it, and I'm not going to have a team of people back in a trailer somewhere and airplanes going overhead and spotter cars out in front of me. It's just going to be me and him, and we're just going to head on across the country, and whatever time we do. Would I like to be on a list somewhere? Yeah. Do I think that having a diesel car makes it more obscure? The fact is that the diesel record is pretty impressive as it stands right now. It was made by Passat, I think, TDI Passat, which was set up and tuned, and they did a lot of stuff to put a fuel cell in it as well. But maybe I could get the non-fuel cell record, whatever that may be. Also, I'm not planning on tuning this car. Some people know this, some people don't, but the automatic or DSG cars in these TDIs have a top speed limiter of 112 miles per hour. Get a little sip here. Oh, that's delicious. But the manual cars have 125 mile an hour top speed limiter. Now, do I think that I'll need more than 125 miles an hour? No, I really don't, because I'm not gonna do anything super silly, scary, like go 160 across open roads before. Not that I haven't done that before in Mexico, but that was in another car that was much faster, and perhaps the CC could do it. But the problem with the CC is it's a little older and a little less reliable, and I'm not 100% sure it would even make a trip across the country. But this TDI, for some reason, has been dead nuts reliable for the last couple thousand miles I've had it, and I've had friends with 200,000+ miles on theirs and have really no major issues at all. So that's my plan. I'm going to do a Cannonball run attempt with my firstborn child, and we're just going to do it. Nothing crazy, no big prep. I think the most expensive part of the whole journey will be just getting out to wherever it is that we decide to leave from. I guess apparently, historically speaking, there's been a couple of different places. So again, I haven't decided which one we're going to leave from, and then of course you drive all the way across. So I think probably fuel will be the biggest cost. Maybe like the hotel room for the couple of nights that we'll have to stay. But I mean, I'm probably planning on doing the thing for maybe under $1,000, not including fuel. So I think that that's pretty reasonable for someone that's of middle-class means. So again, that's what I'm trying to make this whole channel about, is doing middle-class car guy things. Now, I do them in Volkswagens, which is probably not the first choice for somebody that's solidly middle-class like me, because these things do cost a little more to maintain, and and drive, as my CC recently has been teaching me. I bought it for a song from a guy that was like an 18-year-old kid down in southern Missouri who had absolutely no clue what he had. It was already modified when he had it, so the previous owner had spent a lot of money loving it, but he did not spend any money maintaining it. Matter of fact, he would rather spend money on blacked out taillights than fixing the water pump that was leaking. Of course, when he sold it to me, it was a hose that was leaking. Yeah. So anyway, I had to fix that and a whole bunch of other problems with that car, including brand new brakes, tires, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. I'm still not done with it. And it still has an oil leak, and it still has a check engine light. Now, I think the check engine light and the oil leak may be related, because I'm fearing that it may be the remain sealed. But either way, that being aside, that's why I'm going to take this car and not the Volkswagen CC. So that's the plan. Hopefully you guys will tune in for updates. I might just pop in and talk about other stuff from time to time. I'm still semi-active in the car community. I haven't gone to a ton of the meets like I used to go to, but I gotta sleep. I can't be staying out until 11 o'clock or midnight watching cars go down some 2-lane road, street racing each other, and not being involved myself, because I don't really have anything street raceable or anything along those lines. But so yeah, I'll still be around. I'll still make some videos, and hopefully you enjoy.